Climate change is leading to higher temperatures and more severe and frequent heat waves, and cities, which are already warmer than rural areas, will be hit the hardest. Urban heat islands are seriously dangerous for human health, and the bad news is almost 70% of the world population will live in cities by 2050. This makes it a very urgent issue to tackle. However, data collection, analysis, and monitoring of urban plans is often not embedded in planning practices at a local level, or they are based on superficial ground data. We are GTA, and we use Earth observation data to monitor temperature changes and their drivers in order to provide tailored solutions for heat mitigation strategies. We have identified the city of Daegu in South Korea as an attractive market to launch our service, but for that we will need an investment of 255,000 euros in the first year. Our team consists of Bianca, Dejan, Laura, Marta, and Piero, and today we'll walk you through the value creation wheel framework and how we used it to identify the most attractive market to launch our service. So now let's move on to phase one, which was about discovering value. A little bit more about who we are first. So our long-term vision is to accelerate the world's transition towards more sustainable and resilient cities. And the core values of our concept include trust, accuracy, transparency, and innovation, among others. Now, a little more details about the problem that we're trying to solve. So urban heat islands are urban areas that are significantly warmer than the surrounding rural areas due to human activities. So this phenomenon has various causes. The main ones include the lack of vegetation and the dark and permeable surfaces of cities, as well as the high thermal mass of buildings, the lack of airflow, and the waste heat from the energy use and traffic, for example. This has very negative impacts on human health and comfort. This also impairs the water quality and the air quality, and also implies damages to infrastructure. So there are many solutions that exist to this problem. Some of the solutions are, for instance, increasing the trees and vegetation, including green, cool, or light-colored roofs in the buildings. Also, for example, having cool pavements, reducing car traffic, of course, and improving energy efficiency. These are just some potential solutions. However, the problem is that many public entities still lack the specific information to devise and apply heat mitigation strategies. And that's what we are here for. We help them to improve their citizens' health and quality of life in cities by guiding their decision-making. And we tell them where and how to implement those solutions using Earth observation data. So we position ourselves in the downstream Earth observation industry, since we will distribute existing information to the end users in the form of value-added services. We will purchase such information from midstream industry players who transform satellite data using different algorithms and technologies to make it readable and usable to people like us. And we will then add value to this information through our local and urban expertise in order to support the decision-making of local authorities. So GTA contributes to several international initiatives that foster sustainability in urban areas, and the main ones are the UN Sustainable Development Goals, with a main focus on number 11 and 13, which are about sustainable urbanizations and integrating climate change into national and local strategies and planning. We also contribute to the Paris Agreement and the European Green Deal, which focus on making cities and buildings safer, more sustainable, and more resilient. Now on to the main challenge that we are trying to solve with the value creation wheel framework. We are looking for the most attractive geographical market to start the GTA service. And we started by investigating the business environment and applied several models to our case, the first one being the SWOT analysis. So the main strength that we found is that our solution is increasingly needed and applicable to all cities in the world. However, a major weakness is that we have low financial resources and technical expertise. A main opportunity is that Earth observation data is freely available, which can be seen both as an opportunity and as a threat, because it means that anyone can use this data and be a potential competitor. And finally, the major threat is the risk of obsolescence, because there is a rapid technological evolution in this market. So combining these different elements allowed us to come up with a few strategies that will make sure that we are competitive in that market. So first, to use our strengths to take advantage of opportunities, we will create a user-friendly yet comprehensive solution that is scalable and that can be used by all urban planning-related stakeholders around the world. Then, to minimize our weaknesses and take advantage of opportunities, we will hire technical talents and establish long-term partnerships with experienced EO industry players. Then, to use our strengths to minimize the threats, we will build a competitive advantage through a high-quality service and urban and local expertise to have a service that creates more value than the existing solutions. And finally, to minimize our weaknesses in order to minimize the threats, we will stay at the heart of technological innovation and gain expertise and partners by being present among innovation hubs, industry-related events, and funding programs. We then applied the Porter's 5 forces model to get a better understanding of the competition in that market. So the threat of new entrants is medium to high because it's a market in expansion, but not everyone can enter because it's a very specific market with a lot of expertise needed. The bargaining power of supplier is low because there are many suppliers of Earth observation data and a lot of data is available for free. The bargaining power of buyers is medium to high because their switching costs are low, but there are not so many options that are specialized in urban development. The threat of substitute is low because EO data is unique and offers many capabilities that cannot be matched. So overall, the competitive rivalry is high, although there are not so many players. There are some big experienced players and other smaller ones, but it's a growing industry that competes on price, quality of service, and technical expertise. So there are a lot of requirements to be successful in that market, which makes it highly competitive. We then had a closer look at those competitors and found 7 direct competitors, which are the companies that sell similar services to similar customers. We evaluated them on whether they operate on a more global or local scale, as well as the kind of data that they provide in their analysis. And we were able to identify that it would be beneficial for GTA to operate on a local basis, at least in the beginning, and that it should include all the drivers of urban heat in its analysis, which is basically a combination of green areas monitoring, temperature maps, building concentration, air quality and pollution, as well as soil sealing. That is a unique combination of information that is currently not offered by the competitors. So the lack of technical expertise of the key decision makers brought us to reach out to external stakeholders to help us in the process of further defining our concept and finding the best place to launch it. We decided to contact national and local authorities, urban planning offices, international bodies, private companies, citizens, as well as potential suppliers and investors, mainly in phase 2 and 3, as well as phase 5. So the last step of phase 1 was setting specific objectives and corresponding KPIs in order to guide the process and track our performance throughout the funnel. So we divided them into different categories. The environmental objectives included participate in the achievement of the SDGs. The project-related objectives included involving stakeholders, finding a target market, and determine the amount of funding needed. The external Objectives included establishing partnerships, acquiring clients, and keeping them satisfied in the long term. There were also internal objectives, which were about achieving a team satisfaction of at least 8 out of 10 and also hiring technical talent. And finally, some financial objectives about the funding necessary and profitability target.
In phase 2, the objectives was to create value by generating as many ideas as possible regarding the potential solutions and the potential filters that can be used to reach a final solution, that is, the most attractive geographical market for GTA to launch its services. In phase 2A, we identified the set of potential solutions as the 193 countries recognized by the United Nations. We decided to include all of them in order to have a larger pool of potential countries and minimize bias as much as possible. In phase 2B, we generated a first list of criteria that could help us filter out those countries. Multiple processes were used to generate the most extensive list, and we started by gathering secondary data by conducting individual research on governmental statistics websites, large databases, competitors' websites, reports, videos, and articles from various reliable sources, like the UN or the World Bank, to look for relevant filters. After that brainwriting stage, we conducted brainstorming sessions to discuss our findings and put them together into an intermediary list of filters. Since our team lacked some industry-related technical expertise, we decided to complement this by incorporating different external stakeholders in the process. So we contacted competitors, municipalities, employees, and environmental engineers through different surveys, and we gathered a total of 9 responses. So this has provided us with valuable insights. For example, the countries in which a similar service is already available, the characteristics of the locations that need such service, and how we could make sure that our concept would fulfill municipalities' needs in terms of urban development. More specifically, for this phase, we were able to add filters about governments, expenditures, and subsidies, as well as the quality of EO data. So after this process, we reached a list of 54 filters, and this was divided in 6 categories. So one of the categories was climate and sustainability, so with filters that represent the current situation of each country regarding climate change and sustainability issues. Urban and demographics, with filters representing the characteristics of urban areas in each country. And technological characteristics, so with filters representing the country's capacity to incorporate new technologies, and industry, rivalry, and competition, with filters assessing the competition in the EO industry for each country. Our filters were also related to economic factors, so these represent the country's economic wealth, which is important to consider when doing business somewhere. Government and legal aspects, so with filters representing the political landscape of each country, which is also important to consider when entering also in a new market.
Continuing with phase 3, the main purpose was to validate value. We decided to stay with the 193 countries recognized by the United Nations as potential solutions, because we did not find any reason to delete any country. Regarding the selection of filters, the poker method was the team's tool of choice. It consists in reviewing each filter and classifying it as either kill, review, multiply, or keep. During the brainwriting phase, each team member did that individually, which was followed by a brainstorming phase where the method was applied once again to come up with the final list of filters. The group's main takeaway from this method was that the filters generated in phase 2 were too broad or irrelevant, which required various modifications. Furthermore, this was the stage when the answers received from the surveys sent to stakeholders were the most valuable. We learned from competitors that countries' economic health, as well as clients' budgets, was more important than the country's need for our service. We also learned from municipality employees that a country's political environment is one of the most important aspects when having public entities as clients. Taking into consideration every stakeholder's insight, the team reached the following global filters ranking. The first one is existence of similar urban services, since we want to select a market that no other companies are service, which will allow GTA to have a pioneer position. The second one was Political Stability Index, as a more stable political environment offers more security to a newly launched startup serving public entities and, hence, a smaller risk in terms of investments made. The third one was GDP growth, as choosing a country that is growing economically ensures a stable business environment and potential profits in the long term. The fourth one was urban population. From the countries that are politically and economically stable, we want to select the ones that have a large portion of populations that live in an urban area, as it is an indication of more potential opportunities. The fifth filter was the number of cities with more than 50,000 inhabitants. A country with a high percentage of urban population does not necessarily have a high number of cities, and GTA aims to focus on countries that satisfy both criteria. The sixth one was Climate Risk Index. From the list of countries that meet our criteria in terms of urbanization, we want to select the ones that are highly vulnerable to extreme weather conditions, as this will increase the potential demand for our service. The seventh filter was increase in yearly average temperature between the years that you can see here. Although the Climate Risk Index provides a good indication of vulnerability to extreme weather events, we added the temperature filter to focus solely on countries that experience high temperature rises, since this is an important driver of urban heat. The eighth filter was Network Readiness Index. After analyzing the situation of the country in terms of economy, climate, and political stability, we want to select the countries that are technically ready to welcome us and be able to work with your data and technology. The ninth was Ease of Doing Business Index. From the countries that meet the characteristics to potentially need our service and are ready from a technological perspective, we need to select the ones in which it is easier to establish and launch a business. Finally, the 10th filter was corporate tax rates. Since GTA is starting its project, it is important to take into account future tax expenses. This filter is a good one to decide within the last countries that go through the funnel stages until this moment. Although it is of great importance, we consider that all of the other filters are more relevant when it comes to the selection of the country to target. This first funnel will allow us to determine the most attractive country for us to launch GTA. We built a second filter ranking in order to determine which region within the final country is the most attractive to launch our services. The first one was building density. Having infrastructure and high building density are often associated with fewer green areas, and this association is one of the main drivers of urban heat. As such, it was considered as the most important one. The second filter selected was population density in 2020. It would not make sense for GTA to launch in an area that is not densely populated, since in that case they would not face problems associated with dense and hot urban areas, which is why it is the second in the ranking. The third one was increase in temperature between the years that you can see here. As urban heat is further increased by climate change, we want to select the areas that experience a high increase in temperatures, as they will be more likely to suffer from urban heat issues. This filter enables us to exclude the countries that are densely urbanized and populated but do not experience a significant increase in yearly temperature. As fourth filter, we selected air pollution in February of 2021. Air pollution threatens populations' quality of life and health directly and indirectly through increased temperatures. The higher the air pollution, the higher the potential demand for our service. Last but not least, the fifth filter was average number of sunny hours per year. This criteria gives an indication of the quality of the data that will be collected through EO. It is considered as the least important since it does not influence the potential demand for our service, but rather our capabilities to help the area in question using EO data.
In Phase 4, the objective was to capture value. By assigning thresholds to each global filter previously mentioned, we were able to construct a funnel that filtered out countries that did not meet the requirements. The final country that met all the requirements in the right order and is therefore the most attractive is South Korea. This solution has been confirmed by the MCDA calculations that takes into account only whether a country meets the requirements and not the order of importance of the filters. The fact that Korea scores the highest in this table and emerges as the last one of the funnel means that it is the single best solution. Then we applied 5 local filters with the same rationale in order to choose the best province to work in. Our 5 local filters consider the population and buildings density, the increase in temperature, the pollution levels, and the sunny days per year. The final choice was Daegu, one of the biggest cities in Korea. Once again, the MCDA calculation confirms that Daegu constitutes the best opportunity for GTA. Having our target geographical market, we will move on to phase 4B, which focuses on our concept. Daegu represents the most attractive market for its population of 2.5 million people, its high level of urbanization above 90%, and the temperature increase over the last century of more than 2 degrees. Of all provinces in Korea, Daegu is the most vulnerable to heat waves, given that it is among the most involved provinces under the Korean Green Deal, a national plan that aims at shifting the country towards a greener economy through a series of strategies to achieve balance among people, nature, and growth. The plan involves investments of more than $61 billion on a national level. As the Korean city that is most affected by climate change, many projects in the field of sustainability and similar areas are taking place in Daegu, such as the Solar City Daegu project, the Eco-Friendly Transportation Week, etc. Having analyzed our main global competitors, we understood that they score high in technical aspects of the service, such as data complexity, integration, and forecasts, and low in service-related aspects. Therefore, a blue ocean strategy for GTA becomes visible in that area. As such, we will focus on delivering customized consulting services with solutions that integrate a deep local knowledge and an easily understandable analysis. GTA identified 3 end-user segments in the field of urban development, which are NGOs and non-profit organizations, urban development and construction companies, and local governments. GTA will focus on local governments as their main target due to their power and responsibility in decision-making for urban development and the high financial capabilities to invest in this field, which makes it the most attractive segment for GTA. Based on the Blue Ocean strategy we identified, we propose this positioning statement. For local governments that need to improve their citizens' quality of life and tackle the problem of urban heat, GTA is a consulting service that provides customized solutions based on EO for heat mitigation strategies. Unlike our competitors, who focus on more technical solutions, we provide easily understandable and customized information tailored to the end user's local needs. Talking about our service, our offer consists of 3 main proposals that will be available on our platform. Historical report, showing the evolution of temperature and main drivers of urban heat, forecasts and solutions with customized interpretation of data and specific recommendations, and live report, tracking evolutions in near real time. The pricing structure adopted will be based on a subscription model with 3 main packages: the premium package with high-resolution images, weekly reports, and customized solution and guidance throughout the project implementation, with a monthly price from €1,800. The standard, with standard resolution images, monthly report, and recommendations, but no guidance for implementation, with a monthly price from €1,000. And the live report, which is an additional option for the subscribers of one of the 2 packages, to see evolutions in near real time for a given area with a price of €1.5 per hectare, billed monthly. Here you can see displayed the prototypes for the webpage on the left side and the mobile application on the right side of the slide. Regarding the marketing strategy, presented in the form of the 7 Ps, I will not mention product, price, and place, since they have already been discussed before, but I will elaborate on the remaining ones. Considering promotion, GTA will focus on direct interaction with the clients in order to build long-lasting relationships by attending specific events, fairs, or conferences to increase awareness. Online presence will also be important for promotion, and the following tools will be used to increase GTA's visibility. the web page, email marketing, social media through LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, search engine optimization, and the mobile app, of course. About the people, the current team is composed by 5 managers with financial, marketing, and strategic background. In order to grow, GTA will need to recruit the following employees: a data engineer and data analyst, and an expert in urban development. On the other hand, the development of the web page, software, and mobile application will be outsourced. Concerning the process, GTA's key processes consist of provision of EO insights to end users through consultancy services with added value, distribution through online platforms, online and offline interaction to maintain a long-lasting relationship with customers, feedback collection from customers, and continuous innovation and investment in R&D, also based on the feedback collected from customers. Regarding the physical evidence, GTA provides reassurance for customers through its management team with business background, its modern and interactive online platforms available in multiple languages, the easily understandable and clear repos provided, and the employees are in the areas where the management team might lack experience or knowledge.
The last phase of the value creation wheel framework is phase 5, which is about consolidating the value created in the previous phases by building a solid business model and future plan. Having a deeper look on our business plan, GTA's value proposition is the following. Through the study of EO data, GTA strengthens the sustainability of cities by building resilience to extreme climate change events like urban heat islands. To do so, GTA uses a faster, more efficient and more accurate service to deliver near real-time information that serves as valuable insights in the decision-making of urban development entities. By offering a non-technical perspective and intuitive usage of data, local governments are provided with the right information to monitor changes in urban areas and reduce the negative effects of urban heat. Moving on to the key activities, they include retrieving EO data from Copernicus and other partners, analyzing the data, transforming it, and make it understandable to provide recommendations for our clients and create customized reports. Our key partners will include different investing entities like business angels or venture capitals. Also funding entities like European Union and national organizations, and funding providers and suppliers of the EO midstream industries like Deimos, Vito, and DHI. GTA's key resources are remote sensing data, intellectual properties, the software, and our most valuable asset, our employees. GTA's customer segments are local governments, respective ministries, and public institutions in Daegu, South Korea, that are concerned with the sustainable management of urban areas and do not have expertise in Earth observation. GTA will provide a customer-centric service, either remotely or in person, to support our clients throughout the entire process and developing long-term relationships. Further, GTA will provide customized advices based on data analysis and local expertise to support their project in the best possible way. GTA will promote its service through a mix of online and offline channels. The startup will be present at fairs, events, environmental conferences, but also through social media platforms, their website, email, and directly with in-person sales. The revenue streams are based on the subscription on the packages to ensure recurring revenues. Our standard package includes a standard resolution image, monthly report, and customized recommendations. The premium package includes high-resolution images, weekly reports, and highly customized solutions and support throughout the project implementation. In addition, GTA offers a live report option that provides real-time monitoring for specific information over a given area. The following costs for GTA will be incurred: high salary costs due to the high level of qualification required, the web page and software, especially in the creation and the maintenance, R&D and IT development, the rent of the Daegu office and the utilities, the office equipment, headquarters and other miscellaneous costs, and the marketing expenses. This will be explained in more detail on the next slide, which is the first of the 3 M's, money. Here you can see our profit and loss statement forecast. We estimated revenues and costs for the first 4 years. Starting in 2022, we expect to have 5 projects, 2 standard and 3 premium, and revenues of 43,600 euros that will increase year by year with more projects. We estimated expenses of 209,015 euros for the first years. They are very high due to high investments in software and development. Wages will increase in the 3rd and 4th year since we expect to hire additional employees. Further, we plan to spend heavily in marketing to become more present in Daegu and establish ourselves in the Daegu area. Considering that, GTA requires upfront an initial cash injection of 255,000 euros to ensure 20% margin on the cumulative free cash flow in the first 3 years. The second M, manpower, details the needed employees and skills to undertake the project. The key DMs and founders will take care of the management given their background and expertise. Laura as the CEO, Bianca responsible for operations, Marta for human resources, Piero for finance and accounting, and myself, Dejan, for marketing and sales. In addition, employees will be hired to complement those management skills with technical and applied skills needed for the project. Therefore, we will employ a data engineer who builds the data structures and data pipelines, a data analyst who analyzes data and creates the reports, and an expert in urban development responsible for interpreting the data and working on solutions with the clients. The creation of the software will be fully outsourced. The last M, minute, we established a Gantt chart where in the first year we focus on launching the company and developing the platform, and in the following years we launch the service and continually improve it with our clients while growing our business. The green highlighted objectives and corresponding KPIs that we developed in phase 1 for the project have been achieved, namely the project one and half of the internal ones. The remaining KPIs were reported to the longer term, and new objectives and KPIs were added to reflect our future growth and expansion. For example, acquiring at least 5 clients and expand to other Korean provinces by 2025. Our challenges and the next steps are to strengthen our presence in Daegu before expanding to other Korean provinces and Asian countries. Eventually, we may develop new services or target new segments. Last but not least, we want to present our main lessons learned. The value creation wheel framework is a structured but highly flexible model. Applying many tools, models, and frameworks makes the analysis more robust and enriches the reasoning process. The involvement of internal and external stakeholders is a unique feature in the value creation, which leads to better and faster problem solving. By applying the filters and funnels, we came up with South Korea, which we would not have thought of in the beginning. That's it. Thank you so much for your attention and for listening to our presentation.